zone. That time it's a touchdown, and it's Aldrick Robinson.
Now Ryan will throw. It's intercepted. This can be returned for two. This can be points for Kansas City. It would give Kansas City the lead. It's Eric Berry. 40, 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. It is a two-point conversion the other way for Kansas City.
Unbelievable. The Chiefs with the 1-point win. Eric Berry with the great comeback story of the season, back home in Georgia with his mom in the stands, and he gets the go-ahead interception return for 2 points on the Falcons' two-point attempt with 4:32 remaining. But on the other side, the Falcons have now lost 4 of their last 7 after starting 4-1 and are tied with Tampa for first in the NFC South. Max, are the Falcons going to let this one slip away?
I think so. I think, not to oversimplify, but Jameis Winston's like, I'm not a loser, and hasn't lost since then. And they have all this momentum. I know it's a terrible word in sports, but actually in a full contact sport where that kind of adrenaline and confidence, I think, makes a big difference. I think this actually is there's truth to it. You look at the Falcons, what happened last year? 6-1, they're on top of the world. And then what was it? They lost 7 of their last 9. Yeah. This year again, off to a fast start, just lost 4 of their last 7. And what does it come down to? What's the question we asked about the Falcons? It's the same question we asked about really their counterparts in the AFC, the Raiders, and even to a lesser extent, teams like the Lions or the Giants or the Steelers, teams where you look at their offensive potential and you go, that could really be something. Can the defense just play well enough? Can they gel over the course of a season? The Raiders, that's happening. The Falcons, it's the opposite. Stephen A., 30th in opposing QBR. They turn every opposing quarterback into like an elite quarterback. 27th in yards per game. They give up the most first downs. I mean, they have a terrible defense, and it's coming back to kill them right now in the stretch run. I think they lose this division. I think they lose their lead. They've already lost it. I don't think they get out of the division.
Well, first of all, I'll be the first to admit I think you're wrong. That's number one. Number two, I don't blame you, however, for taking the position that you take, because I'm very, very disappointed in Matt Ryan. I'm tired of him being called Matty Ice. When you deserve a nickname when you win, and somehow he comes up small in big moments, as gifted as he is, and I'm sick and tired of that. He's too talented, too gifted, too good to come up so small on several occasions. He manned up and openly admitted that he should not have thrown that interception that Eric Berry returned 102 yards for a safety, essentially. Mad love to Eric Berry. He's big time.
What a story.
The lymphoma a couple of years ago, it was beautiful seeing him give the football to his mom and the whole bit. You know, homecoming of sorts, obviously, really, literally. Yep. But here's the reality. Here's why I'm not losing faith in the Atlanta Falcons, because of their schedule. They got the Rams next. Damn it, that might as well be a bye week. I mean, it's Jeff Fisher coaching them. We'll talk about him later. Okay, we got that going on. After that, you got the 49ers. I take it back. That's a bye week. That's a real bye week, okay? We understand how awful the San Francisco 49ers were. Colin Kaepernick, how's life going for you these days? We'll talk about that another time as well. And then, of course, you got Carolina, who's tough. But at the same time, they've been a shell of themselves this year. I personally blame Gettleman because he had no replacement for Josh Norman. And then the last game of the season is probably going to be their toughest. They've got New Orleans, but that's at home. So I think their schedule is relatively soft.
It is.
What I will say to you is this. The Atlanta Falcons, I believe, are going to take this division. Their defense was incredibly disappointing yesterday. They couldn't get stops when they needed to get stops. You know, you needed to get the football back. You couldn't do it. Andy Reid deserves a lot of credit because he's just an outstanding coach, proving it yet again.
And we'll get into him in a little while, too, yeah.
But the point is that regardless of what we want to say or think about Kansas City, you expect better from Atlanta. Their defense does not get stops when they really, really need to. And offensively, I don't want to see Matty Ice make the mistakes that he made. A matter of fact, like I just said, I'm going to start calling him Matt Ryan from now on. He doesn't deserve a nickname. With his talent and the money that he earns, good guy, by the way, step up and handle your business in these particular situations. If you're going to throw a pass, to take a lead, to secure, you already got the lead. But the only thing that could kill you is a safety, all right? What you do is you make sure you throw it in a situation where it can't be picked off right at the front of the end zone and returned with no resistance. Throw it into the corner, throw it into the back of the end zone where if it's incomplete or if it gets intercepted, you got a better chance of tackling somebody. He's too experienced to make the kind of mistakes that he makes. And it's always in key pivotal moments or key pivotal games.
And the last game of the season, you bring up the Saints. They're another team. And early in the season, it's tough to tell. I guess if you look at the Raiders and you see a talent like Khalil Mack on the defense, you go, maybe they have a better chance. Or the Giants, they spend a lot of money on defense. Maybe they have a chance to have that defense working by the end of the season. But the Lions, I didn't see that their defense would continue to improve to the point where they could have the outing that they just had. And the Saints are much more like the Falcons, the last game of the season for the Falcons, a team where you thought if somehow the defense could just be good, and they're not good enough. And so this time of year, it starts separating the contenders from the pretenders, right? Steelers and Giants still in the mix, Lions getting better and better, Raiders looking like world beaters, and the Falcons and the Saints, since you brought them up, going the other way. But I put the Falcons with the Saints in that category, going the wrong way.
I don't feel that way with this, especially you just made my point even more because I brought up the 3 previous games before the Saints in L.A., San Francisco, and Carolina. In L.A., San Francisco, Carolina. But then you just talked about what you're seeing from the Saints, and that's their last game of the season in the ATL. To me, Atlanta should win all 4 of these games. No, I'm saying you might be right, but they should win. Or not just winnable, they should be favored for every single one of these games.
You look at what they have on offense. Matt Ryan, I agree with your criticism about Matt Ryan. Julio Jones, a couple of good running backs. They got enough, and they've shown that throughout the year. They can put points on the board. They have, and this is not changing, it hasn't changed all year. I don't know why anyone would think it would change going forward, a terrible defense. And that's their undoing, and that's why Tampa's going to win the division.
All right, we got a couple other NFC teams we want to get into coming up next. The Redskins taking a step back after a loss in Arizona Sunday. Jay Gruden is not happy. Don't miss his strong comments when we come back. And your boy, Max, ODB, calls out the officials after the Giants lose in Pittsburgh. Does he have a point? You don't want to miss that discussion next.